Recently, we've been talking about how grace, truth, and time are the critical relational nutrients that you need to let into your life in order to heal those broken parts. Now, a precursor to receiving grace, truth, and time from people that love you and care about you, or that could love you and care about you, is the skill of becoming vulnerable. Now, many of you, myself included, may have learned in your life to associate the word vulnerability with a very negative, have a negative connotation about it. So, because he worked out too much and overused those muscles, he became vulnerable to injury, right? People have been hurt, people have been burned in life. And so, vulnerability at the relationship level scares people and often is connoted with a very negative experience. If you've heard of a pretty famous person, Brene Brown, and if you've also heard of John Townsend, you know that they have written and spoke about the power of vulnerability to help relationships go deeper for many, many years. And they've helped many people discover how on the other side of vulnerability is a deeper, more trusting, safer, and more satisfying relationship. Now, there tend to be some reasons that people are afraid of being vulnerable. In fact, I would say they're not just afraid, they're freaked out. They're paranoid about it. It can be that deep. So let me tell you some of those reasons. Then I'm going to give you a couple of things to try today with your spouse or with your best friend, with a safe person, okay? One of the reasons that people are so scared to become vulnerable is because they only like their strong and together parts, okay? So this is especially true with leaders, ministers, pastors. They only want to show people sometimes. Some people, through their life experience, have learned that for people to trust me and respect me and look to me for their leadership and to open up and share their souls and their hearts with me, they need to see me as the strong, put together person who's sort of flawless. Sort of like looking at a glacier and saying, wow, there's this strong kind of, massive presence, right? And really, the reality is this: your strong and together parts are admirable, but they're not parts that people can necessarily relate to when they're hurting. And so, both at the giving and receiving level, being vulnerable, and I don't mean sloppy and kind of without any discretion. What I mean is letting people know that, hey, I have flaws too. I make mistakes too. I get angry sometimes too. Sometimes I don't know what to do. Sometimes I get down in the dumps. Sometimes I struggle with a habit or even an addiction that I have a hard time kicking. And I need you. I need encouragement. I need relationships. I need hope. I need people to hold me accountable to the things that I've said that I'm going to do and who I'm going to be. So when you let people see those parts that aren't necessarily strong and together, people typically will reach out with their hearts and really connect and relate better to you. So especially if you're in leadership, really take note of the power of vulnerability. Another reason people don't like to be vulnerable, it freaks them out, is because they've never seen or experienced vulnerability. So if you're in a relationship where the person that you spend that time with never opens up about their issues or their struggles. And maybe growing up, you never got to see mom and dad fight. Maybe you never got to see them resolve conflict. Maybe they kept everything in the bedroom. And that seems noble. And I certainly don't encourage people to have knockdown dragouts in front of their kids. But it doesn't teach your kids about how to deal with conflict and how to disagree agreeably and how to work things out, okay? So when you don't see the conflict, when you don't see the negativity, when those feelings or those experiences are sort of off limits in your upbringing, it can wire your brain to be very avoidant of showing yourself at a very real level. And so if you don't know what vulnerability is, if you've never experienced it, you may simply just have no clue how to go about it and what the benefits are. Okay? So here's a third one. A third reason vulnerability freaks people out is they're very careful about that because they have a history of broken trust. Okay, once again, being burned, having secrets and things that you share with somebody in confidence, shared with others, can really make you jaded and can really make you reluctant to become vulnerable. I think probably the most common one that I see and deal with is somebody who's been divorced or had breakups, and they realize, in the most intimate and what was supposed to be the safest of all relationships on this earth, I was burned pretty bad. My trust was betrayed. My personhood and my dignity was not respected. I opened myself up to this person, and showed them my most intimate parts, and they took advantage of me. So that can certainly become a barrier and an obstacle to being vulnerable. Of course, that when those relationships are going well, or if you've ever been vulnerable in your life and it went well, that it can make for such a rich and amazing experience. But you're understandably jaded and a little bit skeptical about being vulnerable ever again. Okay. Now, the fourth reason that people are afraid to be vulnerable, freaked out, is because they don't really know what's going on inside of them. I see this often, once again, with leaders and with high achievers. They're so focused on the task that they're not maybe as aware of the feeling and the relationship side of life. They show up, they do the things, they pay the bills, they raise their kids, but how in tune are they with themselves? I'm tired. I'm lonely. I'm a little bit burnt out. I've been giving, but I'm not receiving much in my life right now. I'm pouring out to other people, but who's pouring into me, right? Who's taking care of mama? Who's taking care of dad, right? So when you don't know what's going on inside, you can't necessarily share what's going on inside with somebody, obviously. And that limits how much people will then share with you what's going on inside of them. So it's sort of this vortex where you can become more and more and more lonely, which leads you to isolate more, which leads you to feel more lonely, and it's just a vicious circle, right? So those are 4 reasons that vulnerability freaks people out. Now, if you are married, or if you're in a relationship with somebody, maybe you have a best friend, maybe you have a close colleague at work, they're what I call a safe person, right? They're not somebody that's going to blab about what you share with them to others. They're not going to betray your trust. This is something that I would encourage you to do, okay? Now, I know this is really, really going to push some of you, but I really think that if you can have this conversation, you can start to experience just some of the power of vulnerability, okay? So a question or a statement that you should have with this person is this. Have each of you agree that we're going to each share on this topic, okay? And here's the topic. Something that I'm insecure about and try to hide from you sometimes is, and then share it. Something I'm insecure about and I try to hide from you sometimes is, and then share it. On the other side of that very, very frightful experience can be a new degree of closeness and a new degree of trust that takes that relationship to a safer and deeper place, because vulnerability is, by definition, taking a risk. It is risky, taking a risk to promote a deeper and safer relationship. So chat with your spouse or somebody that you really trust about that one thing. And let's see, next time when I share a video, I'm going to talk about some more of the skills and the how-tos of vulnerability and how to identify safe people, okay? But just try that, and I'd love to hear or drop in the comments how that experience goes for you. Everybody, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time.